comes to comics, you mentioned you've read comics all your life. Where did you start?
I guess I started with the discount bin at like our convenience store, right? Like they just had some, and I was an avid reader growing up, and my dad, he had a hard time getting enough books for me because I would just finish a book. And then he brought me home some comic books and noticed that I would just like lay them out on the floor and stare at them and try to draw them and like fawn over them. And he was like, "I'm spending $3 and you're at it for hours. So this is what we're gonna do now."
Perfect.
Because when you're done a novel, like you're done with it. And I'm an eerily fast reader, as some of the guys here at the podcast will attest. They get a like, "Oh, hang on, I gotta finish reading," and I'm like,
done. Wow.
But comics always held the interest because of the mixture of like visual storytelling and then the actual text, and they're so kinetic, but like I love it so much. So then when my parents passed away and I was, adopted or whatever, it was just something that I like clung to still. And then it was something that my adopted families always were like, "Oh, you get Chris comic books because that's what she likes." So even when they weren't sure what to do with me, it was like,
"Here's a comic."
Yeah, and then I would go away.
Get lost in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful though.
Yeah.
Now multiple times you've brought up the podcast. So what's the podcast name? How do people find it?
The Sidekick Comics Podcast.
Pretty simple, straightforward.
It's on
Spotify.
iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, on our website.
Yeah, and you said earlier it comes out every Wednesday.
Yep.
And
then sometimes we have bonus episodes. So we did like a fun thing when Infinity War came out. I realized that my sister and her husband had never seen a Marvel film, like ever.
In what, a decade, like nearly 25 films? They'd never?
Not a one.
Wow. We
were out and I don't know how it came out. She was like blurted out like, "I've never seen one," and I was like ever though? And she's like, "Nothing." And I was like, "Turn off your phone, turn off your social media, turn off everything. Like we need to right now." So we did an episode because when you're steeped in the lore, when you read comics all the time, when you've seen every single movie and every single Netflix show, all of it, it's hard to know if it would mean anything to anyone, to someone who hadn't seen any of it. Because
you're so deep into it.
Yeah, so I took her to see the Infinity War.
Like without
blind.
Anything else. Whoa.
Her and her husband. So we podcast interviewed them beforehand. We took them in, we saw it, and then we interviewed them afterwards. Because I was like, "Will you even know what's happening?" Yeah,
because that's a lot of backstory.
It wasn't
Infinity War
Endgame, right?
But still, Infinity War, like to even get to that point, there's so much going on that if you don't know beforehand, it's just like.
Oh yeah, she turned to me in the first 10 minutes and pointed at like eye patch Thor and went, "It's Wolverine," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, but if you'd never gone in and seen anything before, this big hulky guy with the hair, and it's like, all right, cool, that's Wolverine, right?
No, but so on occasion we'll do like a fun, silly episode like that where we'll see a movie, or like we usually go to C2E2, so the con in Chicago every year, so we'll try and get a couple creator interviews in and go to the con, so stuff like that, where we'll have a bonus episode, but you're guaranteed the pull list episode.
Awesome. And do you guys, from I haven't listened to it myself, but from what you have said about it, it sounds like you genuinely sit here, read a comic, and then talk about it live. Recorded, but.
So what we do, the soft format of our episode is like the intro, like you just did for this, and then each of us has a pick of the week. And then we kind of break down what else came out that week, stuff that we may have reviewed in issue 1. Are we still reading it? Did we keep up with it? Or like, hey, if you're in on this event, these things came out. So we do a long form review, each of us, on the thing we liked best,
Okay.
and then other notables, and then we do what came out in trade. So if there was something we really loved that we had reviewed like 5 or 6 episodes prior, it might be out in trade now, so if you missed it, now's the time.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
It's really cool.
It's just like a helpful little guide if you're regularly reading comics and missed a couple of weeks and are like, where do I start? What should I be looking for? Because like Previews magazine comes out every month, but not everyone picks it up or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that like I was a weird person from space who would like get it and then like home even before. I'd like to condense that experience so the average person can actually handle it instead of like reading synopses for books for like 300 pages.
Wow.
Because I love to.
But I mean, if that's what you're into, right?
Well, it makes the parts of the job that I have to do very
really.
easy
Well,
because I was doing them anyway.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, Chris, it sounds like you've done what everyone always tells you to do in school, which is take what you're passionate about and just do it.
Oh, it always blows my mind when I talk to other comic shop owners and they're like, oh, I haven't read anything in a while. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
How are you doing this? What are you telling people when they ask you what to read?
Yeah, exactly. Just as a general business rule, you got to know your product, right?
I thought so, but I don't know.
Damn. Wow. Now, as an avid comic reader, from what's around the store, I mean, you've got beautiful Godzilla posters, or poster.
The King.
Yes. So you have a love of Godzilla.
Yeah.
There is all sorts of art on the walls, signed posters, the Hellboy from Fan Expo a couple years ago. When it comes to comic collectibles beyond the figures around the store, which are particularly, I'm going to make sure I get a shot at this, but the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns Batman is, gorgeous. Yeah. Do you have like somewhere at home a collection of comics, or has this become your collection?
I would love to say that this means that I'm not hoarding at home, but I am. I'm very lucky that my husband is a collector too, and I definitely would say that building these same shelving units at home and alphabetizing our comics together was the single most romantic experience of my life.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but yeah, I have collections at home. I have things that I like, art books that I have. Whenever SH Monster Arts comes out with a new kaiju figure, I always have to think about it.
Do you really have to think about it, or is it can I swing it to get it soon?
Yeah, mostly
that's where the thought is.
Yeah, and the Criterion collection of Godzilla movies just came out, and I had to have it, and then yeah, if there's an independent book that I really really loved, usually it's those that I fall in love with. Then I try and have those at home too. I also do design work, so I consider it a point of, I have to have stuff to look at for reference. So when I'm like looking for a color palette, or I'm like, I really love what's Andrew McLean did with Headlopper in this specific issue, I might look at it and be like, oh yeah, like that pose, that's something that I want to
keep it in your head and be able to refer to it later.
Yeah. So
great
stuff
book,
like that.
Headlopper.
Oh, I love it. So good. Yeah.
3 came out, right? Volume 3?
Yes. It's so good.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I see you've got a color your own Headlopper.
Oh yeah, I painted the vinyl. I specifically referenced Orc Stain. I don't know if you read it, but it was a comic that came out by James Stokoe.
I haven't personally, no.
Oh, okay. And he did Dead Orbit, the Aliens book, and he also released an art book called Grunt not too long ago, but that was the color palette of the orcs and orc stain, and I was like, this is the mashup that I need right now.
That's super cool.
I'm just a weird nerd.
No, but it's the best thing. Literally, I am a weird nerd, and everyone who's
watching this
and walking into the store.
Presumably a weird nerd, yeah.
Probably a weird nerd.
Weird nerds.
Yeah, I mean, it is the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at that wall, like, I have these ones, and I'm like, oh, these look really cool.
Yeah, I
so,
don't have this, but I might have that.
Yes, absolutely. We're all weird nerds.
Yeah. My guilty pleasure is that I still read Spawn. Like, I've been reading Spawn since I was like Spawn started coming out when I was...
Wasn't it, I want to say 91? No, 97?
92.
Yeah, it was that early, yeah.
Yeah, so like I have the entire run up to issue like 248, I think, and then there was a small gap, and then 300 just recently came out, so I read the lead up to 300, so there's a little gap in my collection, but it's not very long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like I happen to be a fan of Spawn. I've got the Origins collection trades. I've got like 1 to 14, and then for some reason 15, 16, 17, and so on. Were really hard to find. They just stopped making them.
Well, they've printed it so many different times in so many different formats, and that makes it hard for me as like someone who runs a shop, because it's like, okay, what do I commit to so that I can get these to everyone in a format that makes sense? And the answer right now is but I'm working on it. But yeah, it's been a bit of a time trying to get those in edition format. So I just stick to my singles that I've had for a really long time. And
yeah. Now, do you have much more time, or?
Yeah.
All right, cool, sweet. So when it comes to someone walking in off the street into the shop, beyond getting a coffee, which is great. Actually, you know what? When it comes to the coffee, I'm a simple guy. I have black coffee.
Yeah.
Terribly uninteresting.
No, a good cup of drip is a damn good time.
Thank you. But beyond just black coffee, what do you guys make?
We do the full espresso thing. So like we're a full service coffee shop, like flat whites, cortados, shots of espresso.
Okay.
I can make you a pour over. I source all of our loose leaf teas, and we have like a list of like 12 different tea blends that I do personally. So whatever you want.
Wow.
I just won't make you a sandwich.
Fair enough. And you guys do have displays for baked goods.
Yes.
I've seen cookies. Actually, I think I had a cookie last time I was here. When it comes to the baked goods, what do you guys typically carry?
We just have partnerships with local bakeries. So we have one with a local vegan bakery, so they do all of our vegan gluten-free stuff. So we have a full roster of like donuts and muffins and cookies from them, and then we have another bakery that we have a partnership with, and they do like scones and cookies and muffins again that are all regular. So I just like to have something for anyone to nosh on, regardless of their dietary stuff.
Right on. And at your other location, I'm assuming same kind of operational basis.
Yeah.
Cool. And for because you've kind of covered everything for the pastries, for the coffee, like you said, or coffee and tea, you can pretty much do anything. Last time I was here with my girlfriend, she happened to have cream for her coffee. So you guys had cream, I believe. I think I've seen milk. Do you have like soy milk, stuff like that?
Yeah, soy, lactose-free, almond, oat.
Oat?
Oat milk.
Okay.
It's
yeah,
trending
cool.
or whatever.
Hey, people.